Now I'm going to read a short story entitled Desert Elegy, and my friend Kent Wilson is going to help me with this one. On the Sunday that Maria committed suicide, the morning sun gradually ascended into the cloudless azure sky, its blinding light filling the dining room's wide picture windows. Sprawling across the prominent ridgetop, the handsome house overlooked the little town of Last Chance. It huddled in the middle of the valley floor, surrounded by a vast expanse of desolation and creosote bushes. Samuel and Sarah ignored the panorama below. They busily scurried about the kitchen, making preparations for the arrival of their brunch guests. The two couples from Echo Park were expected by noon, and there was still much to be done.
This place is at the end of the world. The lean figure slouched against the adjacent bar stool. His long white hair fell in a tangle over the shoulders of his frayed denim jacket and framed his deep blue eyes, which blazed with a pagan intensity. To the west, the open spaces are long gone. Nature's on the run. He shifted on his stool. But you go too far east, he warned ominously, and you'll fall off the earth.
Samuel and Sarah glanced at one another, quickly swallowed down what was left of their gin and tonics, and asked for the check from the bartender, a young man with a tattoo of the solar system on the inside of his left arm. Stepping out of the bar and its odor of old cigarettes, they paused on Last Chance's forlorn main street. Most of the storefronts were empty. Some were boarded over. Maybe this notion of finding a desert getaway isn't such a good idea, she noted tentatively, watching her husband as the hot wind pushed her blonde hair across her forehead. He didn't answer right away. The desert getaway was his idea. We'll see, he finally said. That afternoon, a realtor took them to see the house on the ridge. It was everything they had hoped for. Mid-century architecture, remodeled kitchen and bathrooms, and views of what seemed the entire Mojave. Across the unpaved road stood an old homestead cabin, well-maintained but out of place among the larger dwellings that had been constructed around it in recent years. A lady from Pennsylvania named Maria lives there, the realtor told them. She has stage 4 pancreatic cancer and found out assisted suicide is legal in California. He paused for a moment as he watched them. She probably won't be your neighbor for very long.
The German tourists think the reason the founders of this town came here was to make contact with space aliens. The strange man on the bar stool glared at the couple. Everyone's forgotten about the real pioneers, miners who never struck it rich, and World War I veterans searching for some place to recover from the mustard gas attacks.
So Maria is only the latest to come here for something that couldn't be found anyplace else, Samuel thought, as he and Sarah rushed to prepare the appetizer platter and heat up the quiche. When the black Range Rover climbed the hill and stopped in the driveway, the couple left the air conditioning to greet their guests. As everyone else went inside, Samuel hesitated, staring across the road. A cluster of cars and pickup trucks were parked in front of Maria's place. The 6 of them sat together on one side of the long dining room table, facing towards the stark red hills in the distance. By the middle of the afternoon, most of the food and sparkling wine were gone. While they stared contentedly through the windows at the wilderness, the sound of music began to fill the air. Maria must be gone, Samuel thought. He stood, glass in hand, walked to the front door and swung it open. A mobile sound system had been set up in front of Maria's cabin, while Spirit in the Sky blasted out of the speakers and echoed off the boulder-strewn hillside. A dozen friends and members of her family bobbed and weaved in a ragged half circle, arms raised and smiles filling their faces. "Sounds like a party," someone said when Samuel returned. He nodded, went into the kitchen, and pulled the cork from the last bottle of champagne. Across the road, the celebration went on past sunset, while the Range Rover backed out of the driveway and headed back down the hill through the shadows. The music drifted over the ridgetop and into the crimson sky, which slowly turned ink black and then began to fill with a million stars.